Well, well, time for us to delve into the papers, and look who's here. China B and Mama V.
Jill, what up?
Good morning to you both.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Looking sprightly and fresh this morning.
Yeah.
Thank you. We kind of like took inspiration from you.
Hey,
I like
is
I
that
told
pink.
you the same thing
Thing going
yesterday.
on in there.
That when you go to
Yeah.
Rome, you do what the Romans do.
Exactly.
so today I'm room.
we've been copying you.
Well, we've got a bunch of papers today,
Where
quite a
is
lot
our,
of them,
our
haven't
bro-
we?
Our brother, Roland?
Roland is off to Ayawaso West, Wagon. The big day is today, the by-election. A replacement, sadly, for Emmanuel Chamanting Ejaku, who died in November last year. He's been buried since.
Yeah.
There are 4 candidates. I think over 88,000 persons eligible to vote.
That's right.
We'll be keeping
88,000.
Yeah, over, a little over.
Okay.
So Roland is off to the constituency. There's Kwesi Parker Wilson also on the ground, and we will bring you extensive coverage of the by-election. We will be monitoring to see if the students at the University of Ghana would
Come out in their numbers.
would turn out, because we understand that school is reopening today
Right.
for
Wow.
them. So we'll see if they show
Let's
up.
see if that makes a difference.
Yeah,
Huh?
Gempa is still on break.
Is that so?
Yeah,
How
Gempa
much
is
longer
back
are they off for?
next Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah. So all eyes on Ayawaso West Wagon, and then also especially because today is a working day, will people stay back and vote knowing the traffic situation if you delayed?
Most elections are held on working days, aren't they? Or are they?
Yeah, but when
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
December 7, it's more like a patriotic day, kind of. Everybody knows that you've got to vote, and it's a national exercise.
The good thing though is that you need a simple majority. So wherever.
However,
it
few people
goes,
come out.
Yeah.
we are done.
Okay.
Yeah.
True.
Let's see how that
We do the
unfolds. We'll
papers
keep an eye
now?
on it. Yeah. Headlines. Okay, I've got a few of them here. In fact, quite a lot of them this morning. I'll start with the Business and Financial Times. We haven't had this paper this year until today. So let's start. Technical universities still unattractive 2 years after conversion. Fascinating story there. Deposits growth rate slows down. Yeah, no surprise. Manage negative perceptions to your favor. That's the article written by a consultant, very helpful. John Moore International Limited, 20 years of contributing. That's another story there. Scrap vehicle levy, VADAG is telling government. And on the back page, Stanbic rolls out mortgage scheme for public sector employees. Fuel price could breach 5 Ghana cedis again. And Stanchart delivers extensive rewards to clients with a 360-degree reward program. I'll do very quickly a couple more, maybe the Free Press and the Daily Statesman. Free Press has a big headline, Frimpong Boateng's mining empire. Inside story of how minister causes financial loss to the state, conflict of interest.
Oh.
And on page 3 of the Free Press, you have this story. You are a fool, son of an animal. Kennedy Japan and Muntaka trade blows in Parliament. Also, Stone Boy, and it's spelt with an E at the end. And Shatawale hot over Namwan's properties. And autocratic, in quotes, Nyantichi was not my friend. That's George Afriye speaking. The Statesman is here as well. Do we have the Statesman? Yes. Okay, so banner headline, BNI probes top NDC man over threats to kill journalist. Alhaji Alassane Tapsoba is in the headlines over this, and the journalist in question is one of our own. Ghana's economy is back in order, Akufo-Addo tells Envoy. Occupy Ghana quizzes law on fiscal responsibility, and NPP poised to whip NDC in Ayawaso. That's what the Daily Statesman wants to report today.
Okay, I have here the Daily Dispatch. Daily Dispatch. Double track system to end in September 2019. Research shows it is unpopular. Wow, after all the efforts. Mustafa Hamid warns politicians, Zongo is not a storehouse for supply of hooligans. Zongo is not a supply for hooligans. Then EC to inspect offices of Ghana's 24 political parties. Do we have 24 political parties?
Apparently, I have no idea.
24.
Okay. You seem to be surprised by the number?
Yes,
24
Could it even be
entities.
more?
We have an election and the candidates
4.
we see is 4. So.
Yeah.
24 entities registered as political parties, perhaps, but
Yeah.
whether they have also met the other criteria to make them...
That's a bigger question, isn't it?
Audited accounts.
Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the Daily Graphic. Kennedy Japan Muntaka clash in Parliament. There's a 37-year-old man who slept with 3 stepdaughters and has impregnated 1. That story's in the paper with the suspect, Abraham Tete, on the front page of the paper. Ayawaso West Wagon by-election today. Voters register not bloated. EC assures political parties. That's one of the issues raised by the NDC. So those contesting, Kwesi Dalali Brimpong from the NDC, William Dowokpo from the PPP, Clement Bwedi from the LPG, not liquefied petroleum gas, but the Liberal Party. Lydia Seria Malasan from the NPP. So we'll see by close of today. We should have a representative from that constituency. Back page of the Daily Graphic, agribusiness company to invest $5 million in agriculture factories in Avayima. UNDP offers grant for training of small-scale miners. The 2 stories on the back page of the Daily Graphic. Center spread, major boost for oil sector. Jubilee Field to be fully operational by the first quarter of this year. You've got to check out the details of the story. Also, government takes delivery of some $70 million power generation equipment. Secret number. Film highlights Ghanaian uniqueness. Story by Jessica Chapon. I guess it'll be interesting reading. Next set construction select Apollonia Business Park for national expansion.
Okay, Daily Guide. NDC Iowa Supply exposed. NDC Iowa Supply exposed. That's for Daily Guide. Then NPP Council of Elders elect officers. We also have Kennedy Japan here. Police invite Kennedy Japan over Anna's boys' murder. He speaks also to the BBC.
Really?
Well, that's what they're trying to say. They're trying to add the 2 scenarios that he's been invited and he's also spoken
no, I
to
mean
the BBC.
Kennedy Japan has spoken to the BBC.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
How did I miss this? How did that go? Did he call them names, insult them?
Stupid question. How can you ask such a... Is it foolish question or stupid question? He
Yeah,
said?
there was a foolish question. There was there's the one that says the question about was it responsible for you to have put the picture out, and then says was it morally right, and then he says I'm going to forgive you for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do we
But
have
he
it?
said, but hang on, that's not even the worst. He doesn't trust the police to do a good job with this investigation. We can listen to it.
Yes,
for the
hear
sake
this.
of you, could you?
Please, please.
I don't trust the police.
You don't trust the police in this country?
Read my lips.
You don't trust the police?
I don't trust the police.
In Ghana?
Yes. Read my lips. Read my lips.
In
one of the videos,
do you trust the police to find the killers of Ahmed Hussein?
I am doing better investigations than even the police.
So you don't trust them to do a good job?
I don't. I have a lot of evidence, but I don't share with anybody. I will serialize it for Ghanaians to see who announces, and I'm not afraid to die.
You circulated pictures of Ahmed Hussein Swane. Do you think you bear some moral responsibility for what happened to him?
Bear moral responsibility? No. I am rather saving Ghanaians from criminals, and I have no regret.
You have no regret for what happened to Ahmed Hussein?
What has happened to him, yes. By showing his pictures, no regret. Because they disgrace reputable judges, custom officers, GFA. He has destroyed Africa, destroyed Ghana, destroyed Ghanaians, and go scot-free.
Did you contribute in any way to the death of Ahmed Hussein?
That's rubbish. You ask intelligent question. How can you ask me, did I contribute in any way? Who is he? I don't know the guy. He has never offended me. How would I go and say that, go and kill Ahmed? He has never offended me.
Yeah. You said if they see him,
beat him up.
Beat him up. Anywhere.
My premises.
It's on record.
Yeah,
and
premises.
you also said that you'll be responsible for it.
Yeah, my premises.
You said you'll be responsible for it.
Yes, if he comes to my premises, anywhere my premises, beat him up.
That's foolish, you know. Ask intelligent questions.
Okay, so
Kojo.
So Kennedy Japan, a man who makes laws, doesn't quite understand that it is still unlawful to say that if someone comes to your premises, they should be beaten up. He doesn't even get that.
Shall I show you the movie from Parliament yesterday?
Yeah, show me the movie from Parliament yesterday. You know,
let's finish up with the headlines.
Kennedy Japan and Muntaka's children might be watching our show. Let's show them what their parents got up to yesterday. Do we have the clip?
I'm ready for you to work. Listen, I'm ready for you.
Let me just finish
Yes,
up.
kids, that's what Daddy did at work yesterday. All right, then. What else do we have?
We won't go back to IMF. Nana, Kojo, you heard that? We won't go back to IMF from our president.
Okay.
Yeah,
why? Is he going to be our president forever?
Okay. And then sports, we need to avoid mistakes. And this coming from Emmanuel Jemfi. Fans throw shoes at players. Referee abuses player. Okay, sorry. Then Kotoko wrestles Habib from Ash Gold.
Let's do the last paper, the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Okay, so front page of the Ghanaian Times now. Government to roll out projects across the country this year, says the president. Ayawaso West Legon goes to the polls today. Near exchange of blows in Parliament between Kennedy Ejapong and Alhaji Muntaka. Gregory Afoko's family unhappy about discontinuation of murder trial. Back page, project to facilitate women's empowerment launched and modalities for land title registration in the offing. And in the center spread of the Times, here we go. President announces, okay, so the full story of what's on the front page, and then the by-election and 25th session of ISA, that's the International Seabed Authority, is underway here in the capital. That's it for the Ghanaian Times newspaper by way of headlines. Yeah.
Right then. So, which of these stories do you want to settle for? They're all so fascinating.
We started with Kennedy, so let's finish off with the action from Parliament. There's so many things happening, you know, around one person. So the Speaker of Parliament has consented to the CID's requests to interrogate Kennedy Ejapong. So that's one of the things that came out yesterday. And then the speaker also, okay, well, that's also related to Ahmed Swale. So the subject matter, the speaker saying that members of parliament should not, the fact that Ahmed Swale was a journalist, he may not have been killed because of his profession. So don't, you know,
yeah. And
mix
I noticed
the two
that
together.
The Information Minister, Kojo Nkrumah, also made a statement to that effect, that if the discourse continues in that direction, it will give the international community a certain impression of what it means to be a journalist in Ghana, which might not necessarily be true.
But I tell you what, just before you continue, I was reading an article on the BBC, and they've already tagged us as the first African country to have recorded an incident like that, as in the killing of a journalist in Africa. So we're already
especially
there.
with a democracy which is not as repressive as other countries.
Yeah.
You see, this is what perhaps the Speaker and the Information Minister may not wish to consider. International perception, once an event like this has happened, not so much of it is in our control.
True.
It doesn't quite matter what we say or don't say. They will form their opinions.
They have already.
Yes, and it is only if an investigation brings out some entirely different facts that perception might change. Even then, it's a big might. Okay, so stopping people from discussing it as such won't really make a difference. Not to international perception. Definitely, definitely not to international perception. The fact is, this individual is a journalist. The fact is, he's been killed. The fact is, a member of our legislature once called on the public to beat him up. And I don't care what Kennedy Japan says to the BBC. We all watched him. We all listened to him. He said, he said it. He should stop trying to run away from it. He is a man who doesn't appear to fear anything. Why does he fear his own words? He said it. Why is he pretending that he didn't? And you see, the alternative that he's presenting, that, oh, I said when he comes to my premises. Do you know his premises? Do you know his premises? Where he runs his business? Isn't there a TV station there? What else? Are these not places that the public frequent? So are these not public places? They may not be owned by the people of Ghana, but they are places where the public, converge, like Accra Mall. So if somebody says, Mama via Bono, and then they ask him and he says, oh, I meant if she comes to Accra Mall, she should be beaten. Does that make it any better? Does he think he's improving the situation by saying that? This is a man who makes laws.
As if it is even right to say that if it were your own private house.
Thank you. Thank you. Even that would still be wrong. He doesn't quite get it. But he insists that everybody else is an idiot and he is smart. I don't know how this works for him. But honestly, yesterday, after what he and Muntaka did, and I'm sorry, but Muntaka also, rising actually falling to that level is disgraceful. Is disgraceful, honestly. And for the two of them to do this on the floor of Parliament, such a sacred place, a place whose sanctity they ought to appreciate even more than we do. And they were able to display such crassness in a place like that. I am truly disappointed. I hope they are disappointed too. Otherwise, there's no hope for them.
Kojo, I share all the sentiments you've just expressed about the dignity.
We do, actually.
The dignity
You found words.
Yeah. The dignity of...
Bobby is dumbstruck.
The dignity of our parliament. It does appear that most people will not be surprised because they've lived up to, I don't want to say their reputation.
Live down to their reputation.
Live down to their reputation, because most of the stories that come from our parliament doesn't look so good. It's about bribery, it's about corruption, it's about extreme partisanship, it is about not upholding the interests of the ordinary person. There's a scripture I read, is it this morning or last night before I slept, that what will the righteous do if the foundation is shaken? The point I'm making here is that it does appear that the structures of our nation, the foundation on which we are building our nation, is gradually giving way. You talk about parliament as the home where laws are made. People no longer trust parliament to live up to its core mandate and its sacrosanct reputation. You talk about the police service. It does appear that people no longer trust the police service. As you heard in the clip, the Honorable Minister says he doesn't trust the police service. You talk about the judiciary. We've seen the results of an NASI's investigation about judges taking bribe in a manner that is so shameful. Then you talk about the executives. Will you tell me that you trust the executive in this country to uphold the interests of the ordinary man? You can even bring into the opposition, and it is worse. So the foundation on which we've built our polity, the foundation on which we are building or constructing our nation, seems to be shaken, and we should be very careful that these are the very things that normally threatens democracy. I'm not here to advance for the destabilization of our democracy, but really, if it continues like this, then you are going to get doomsayers and those who do not wish well for our nation to take advantage of not just coup makers, but even international criminals who feel that the police is not working, the politicians will take bribe, parliament will not put in place good laws, infiltrate it, and at the end of the day, you have what we are getting in Takrade, kidnapping. I think that the foundation needs to be strengthened, and that's why we have Council of State. It is at this point that we need to have a certain level of leadership that will rise up and stand, or Peace Council. But all of these institutes, or even the Christian Council, all of this body, or even the Media Commission, These are supposed to be bodies that rally whenever we find ourselves in crisis of this nature. But all of them are quiet.
Yeah,
you see our situation being...
For a journalist to call them for a reaction.
Everybody is quiet.
You know, and I've got to say, even the journalists, there's a lot more we ought to be doing.
Exactly.
Because this is one of our own, right, who has died. Now, it doesn't matter what the cause of it is. It's one of our own.
Yeah.
And we are supposed to be what? The fourth estate of the realm. Yeah. That thing, do they mean it? When they say do they mean it? Like, you know, when you hear the members of the executive, for example, saying, oh, the journalists are the fourth estate of the realm. Or you hear a member of the judiciary saying, oh, journalists are, or a member of parliament saying, do they mean it? Does it mean that we are equal to them? What would happen right now if a judge was killed? What would happen right now if an MP was killed? Yeah. What would happen right now if a minister was killed?
Yeah. So
does it even matter whether they were killed in the line of duty or not? Would this nation not be in uproar? And would it not be the same journalists who will be putting pressure on institutions to do a good job? So if we are the fourth estate and one of us has been killed, why are we having the leader of the legislature? Are they the second or the third estate? Which estate are they? The leader of the legislature trying to downplay the role of the person's profession.
Yeah.
Why are we having this? Why are we not having outrage? Look, by now, even the Chief Justice should have said something about this by now. The Speaker should have said something about this by now. The President, well, has he said something about Ahmed Swale's? He tweeted. Right? He tweeted.
Yeah, get a tweet.
There's a press conference today, by the way. The police is going to give an update on some of the security things that have happened. Not sure if they're going to talk about Ahmed Swale or they would just restrict themselves to the kidnappings.
Which estate of the realm are they? The police.
The police.
No, the executive.
But you know,
well,
I just want to say that yesterday I got someone sent me the video, the Parliament showdown. Yeah. Like showdown in our little parliament from the US, and asked if this was true. But it had the JoyNews logo, you know, like it's online. I guess he still didn't want to believe that, because usually when you see something like that, blows in parliament, it's not from Ghana. It's from somewhere else. It's not Ghana.
From some country that you've not visited before.
Exactly.
You know, but this time around.
But this is not the first time. I think there was this
about
slapping. Is it the one involving
Sam George and
very
soon after this new parliament, was what's the word when they started them? When this new parliament was initiated, whatever the word
or you came into force.
Yes,
well,
yes,
so we're watching.
We are not
see,
surprised.
you know, like we're looking
up
to Parliament to see how they resolve this one. We're very interested because remember that Mr. Japong has appeared before the Privileges Committee. We are not sure what the recommendations were. Surely has not been implemented. It hasn't been addressed. Yeah. It's not been shared. So we wait to see. And if they are expecting someone to petition Parliament to draw its attention to what happened yesterday, that's also an interesting one that we're waiting to see.
Yeah, but Mama V, there's something happening. It does appear that anybody who speaks on this particular subject, and it is not in the favor of Honorable Kennedy Japong, he attacks the person. But you see that when the killing happened first, Anas put up a video that he found in bad taste. You saw the tirade he went on Asempa FM. This attack in Parliament apparently is because Muntaka had moved that Ken should be brought to the Privileges Commission. Yeah. Again, he's been attacked there. The BBC journalist who asked the question that he found it was wrong. Now, the point I'm making is that all of us sitting here, if we make any comment which he finds to be in bad taste, what may happen to us? That is where we are getting to, where one individual is gradually becoming so powerful that people now cannot express themselves. You can disagree with us through the normal channels, but to want to come and attack physically, we've gotten beyond a certain threshold. And it is this that party people, leaders in NPP, must say that no, we don't uphold this.
There's
so
leadership
government
in,
must
there's
say
leadership
no.
in Parliament, isn't there? There's also the majority leadership.
Exactly.
So we are watching all of them.
You see, yesterday I asked the Deputy Information Minister whether the NPPs are afraid of Kennedy and Japong. And of course, they sought to suggest, oh, the MPP is not afraid of any human. But what a lie. Because look, this is the same man who, in defense of the Delta forces or whatever, said nobody should touch them if they are convicted of anything, this country will fall. He said all of that. And the very next day, these boys, emboldened by his words, then went and freed people from a court and actually, attacked a judge.
Yeah.
Something that has never happened in the history of this nation happened because of the words he said on a radio show. But look, let's talk about blatant crimes, blatant offenses he's committed that nothing has come out of. He's the chair of the Communications Committee. In public, on camera, on record, he accused the communications minister of giving a contract to someone else when the person, the minister knows that he, Kennedy Japan, wants that contract.
He's the chair of what?
The Communications Committee.
Kennedy Japan?
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
So I mean, how many rules are being broken here? How many rules are being broken here?
Wow.
He wanted that contract and they didn't give it to him. How dare they not give it to him?
And sitting as a chairman of a committee.
Thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
So nobody did anything to him for that. And today we are sitting here and
but I have one
shocked
question.
At his behavior.
I have
Please
one
ask.
question. Where did he get Ahmed Swale's photograph to show? Where did he get it?
Well, apparently he had an informant, somebody who used to work for Anas, who was bringing him information.
Okay. That's my question.
All right, let's go to myjoyonline.com with lots of questions still on our minds, waiting to see true leadership from all the institutions and, I mean,
To which he belongs.
Thank you. Because we need to hear from the majority in Parliament. This is something that clearly they witness. They are not expecting any MP or any individual from outside to petition them to draw the attention to what happened in their own chamber.
Yeah.
So we wait to see. MyJoyOnline.com real quick. Kokwanyudo was on PM Express yesterday. Decision to contest the Sierra Ketia was well calculated. And then he also talked about, the comments that got him into trouble. Security beefed up ahead of Ayawasa West Legon by-election. Still on Ayawaso, register not bloated. EC denies NDC claims. He said they are going to monitor the election like something. They will be there, feely, all the polling stations. Of hereditary jobs and politics, this will be a feature. Elizabeth Ohene, one of my favorites.
One of my favorite writers too. Yeah.
Immigration Service opens risk analysis cell to bolster intel gathering. Politicizing Ahmed's death, unfortunate. Defense and Interior Committee chair says. Let's finish off. There's a video, Canada, Japan, Muntaka trade insults in Parliament. That's how far we have come. You can watch the video if you haven't seen it. It's on myjoyonline.com. Okay, more stories on the page. You can visit there and be updated. This is the BBC. Zimbabwean soldiers raped me. 6 women tell the BBC they were raped by security forces as part of a government crackdown.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and then the country where food costs 3 times your salary. Imagine. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I don't live in that country.
Yeah, and then, of course, we feature on the page Ghana MP defense unmasking shot reporter as we are featuring.
Yeah. Okay.
It is right there.
I would rather
I
we
see.
featured with something positive.
Yeah.
And a bohono.
Okay, so our job here is done.
Sorry, just a moment. But isn't that ironic? We are interested in defending our public image from the world, thinking that journalists are killed here. But clearly, we are not able to defend image from the world, thinking that our MPs are one ball short of a kinky party.
But
You
do
can fight
we
that.
think that Ken needs security? I think he does.
As in
No, he needs to be
MP.
given
He needs a lot of
security.
different things.
They should give him security.
As in Ken the MP.
Ken the MP, in this
He
state
needs a lot of
where he
things.
finds himself, he needs
security,
security.
and
We should protect him.
capacity building.
I
We
think
should-
I don't know. Well,
Capacity
clearly, maybe the
building.
majority
We all
in
need
Parliament
capacity
can't.
building.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
we need the
Yeah.
president to speak to him and hold him down.
But he needs to be protected because of what is happening. You know, people are angry, people are upset, and he's still going on. He needs to be protected.
From who, though?
From anybody who may want to harm him. He needs to be protected. Because like they saying of Ahmed Swali, he may be involved in so many other things and people may take advantage. He needs to be, we need to hold him and finish the investigation.
This is a very good point that you made there.
Well,
we'll see what happens.
So
all the
custody
questions.
Maybe.
we could ask the police when they when we go for their briefing today.
Okay, that's a
all right. Stay with us. We've got sports coming your way. It was mid-week action. Yeah, I think I know why Roland ran off rather very quickly, because they were thrashed 4-0 yesterday. He knew we would say it. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah. A friend of mine went to bed very early last night because of this.
So, just in case you missed the 4-0, we'll bring you a playback of that. All the goals in your face this morning. Stay with us.